What if I told you that somewhere in the heart of Indonesia lies a land where soaring mountains meet one of the richest tropical seas on Earth, a place where ancient forests still blanket rugged hills, where rivers have carved their paths for thousands of years, and where the rhythm of life continues to follow nature rather than modern chaos? This is not a destination that dominates international headlines. It is not a city filled with towering skyscrapers or endless highways. Instead, it is a place where every sunrise reveals untouched beauty, every coastline tells a story of resilience, and every journey feels like stepping into one of Indonesia's last great frontiers. Welcome to Tojo Una Una Regency, a remarkable region in Central Sulawesi whose extraordinary landscapes and rich natural heritage remain one of Indonesia's best-kept secrets. Located in the province of Central Sulawesi, Tojo Una Una stands proudly as one of the region's most fascinating administrative regencies. Today, its capital is the welcoming town of Ampana, a coastal gateway that serves as the heart of government, commerce, and daily life. Yet Tojo Una Una was not always an independent regency. For many years, this land formed part of the much larger Poso Regency. As communities expanded and local aspirations grew stronger, the need for more focused regional development became increasingly important. That vision became reality through Indonesia's Law No. 32 of 2003. The legislation established Tojo Una Una as its own autonomous regency, opening a new chapter in its history and allowing local leaders to shape development according to the unique character and needs of the region. The creation of the regency was more than a political decision. It represented hope for better public services, stronger infrastructure, greater opportunities, and a future built around the people who call this extraordinary landscape home. Today, Tojo Una Una covers approximately 5,721 square kilometers, making it one of the larger regencies in Central Sulawesi. Despite its vast territory, the population remains relatively modest, with around 165,000 residents. That means the population density averages only about 29 people per square kilometer. In many parts of the world, cities continue to grow denser each year, replacing forests with concrete and quiet landscapes with endless traffic. But in Tojo Una Una, nature still dominates the horizon. The spacious environment creates something increasingly rare in today's world: room to breathe, room for forests to flourish, room for wildlife to survive, and room for communities to maintain a close relationship with the land that has sustained them for generations. Geographically, Tojo Una Una occupies an incredibly strategic position within Central Sulawesi. To the north lies the magnificent Tomini Gulf, one of Indonesia's largest and most biologically diverse marine ecosystems. These calm tropical waters have shaped local culture, transportation, fisheries, and livelihoods for centuries. To the east, the Regency again meets the vast waters of Tomini Gulf while sharing land borders with parts of Bangai Regency. To the south, the landscape connects with North Bungku, Petazia, and Mori Atas districts, linking Tojo Una Una to the neighboring region of North Morowali. Meanwhile, to the west stands the historic Poso Regency, forever connected through geography and shared history. These boundaries do more than define lines on a map. They connect mountains with coastlines, communities with ecosystems, history with the future. Every direction offers a different face of Central Sulawesi's extraordinary natural diversity. But perhaps the most striking feature of Tojo Una Una is not simply where it is located. It is how the land itself has been sculpted by millions of years of geological forces. Unlike vast lowland plains found elsewhere, much of Tojo Una Una is characterized by dramatic mountain ranges, rolling hills, rugged highlands, and only scattered stretches of relatively flat terrain. Across much of the Regency, elevations rise above 500 meters above sea level. These highlands create spectacular panoramic landscapes while influencing weather patterns, vegetation, water systems, and even the daily lives of local communities. Travel through the Regency and the scenery changes continuously. One moment you may pass gentle valleys covered in tropical greenery. The next, steep hills rise sharply toward the clouds, creating breathtaking views that remind visitors how powerful nature truly is. The terrain of Tojo Una Una tells an important environmental story. Areas with slopes between 0 and 2% are relatively flat and are found throughout several districts, especially around Ampana. These lands provide ideal locations for settlements, public facilities, transportation networks, and community development. As the terrain becomes slightly steeper, with gradients ranging from 3 to 15%, the land remains highly productive. These gently sloping areas support a variety of economic activities and agricultural potential. However, they also require careful soil and water conservation to ensure that development remains sustainable for future generations. Moving into steeper terrain between 16 and 40%, the challenges become greater. These landscapes are more vulnerable to erosion and less suitable for conventional farming. Instead, successful land management depends on selecting vegetation capable of protecting fragile soils while maintaining ecological balance. Then there are the vast mountainous regions where slopes exceed 40%. Remarkably, this category represents the largest portion of Tojo Una Una's territory. These steep forested landscapes are among the region's greatest natural treasures. They protect vital watersheds, preserve biodiversity, regulate local climate, and serve as natural barriers against environmental degradation. Without these forests, rivers would become unstable, erosion would accelerate, and ecosystems stretching from the mountains to the sea would face increasing pressure. Protecting these landscapes is not simply an environmental responsibility. It is an investment in the future of every community that depends upon clean water, fertile land, and healthy forests. In many ways, the mountains of Tojo Una Una silently work every single day to support life throughout the region. They capture rainfall, they feed rivers, they stabilize the land, and they remind us that some of nature's greatest contributions often happen without anyone ever noticing. Above these magnificent landscapes, the rhythm of life is guided by one of the most powerful forces on Earth, the climate. Like much of Indonesia, Tojo Una Una experiences a tropical climate shaped by two distinct seasonal patterns that have influenced local communities for generations. The first is the west monsoon, bringing periods of heavier rainfall that replenish forests, rivers, and fertile soils. The second is the east monsoon, bringing drier conditions and calmer weather that support agriculture, fishing, transportation, and outdoor activities. These seasonal cycles are far more than changes in the weather. They determine when farmers cultivate their fields. They influence when fishermen venture into the waters of Tomini Gulf. They affect wildlife migration, forest growth, and even the daily routines of families across the Regency. Everything is connected. Annual rainfall ranges from approximately 1,200 millimeters to more than 4,100 millimeters, illustrating the incredible diversity of environmental conditions across the region. This generous rainfall feeds dense tropical forests that cover much of the mountainous landscape. Towering trees stretch toward the sky. Layers of green vegetation create habitats for countless species. Hidden valleys remain cool and moist even during warmer months. The result is an ecosystem that feels vibrant, alive, and constantly renewing itself. Temperatures generally range between 17 and 33 degrees Celsius. Higher elevations offer cooler mountain air, while the coastal plains experience the warm, tropical climate that has defined island life for centuries. Humidity typically ranges between 74 and 82%, creating the lush conditions necessary for tropical biodiversity to flourish. Every breath carries the scent of fertile soil, fresh vegetation, and the nearby sea. It is the kind of environment where life grows abundantly, where forests regenerate naturally, where rivers flow throughout the year, where nature continues to remind humanity of its remarkable resilience. Gentle winds, averaging between 3 and 6 knots, sweep across the mountains and coastlines. They cool villages during the afternoon heat. They guide fishing boats across the calm waters of Tomini Gulf. They carry rain clouds toward distant hills before disappearing into the endless blue horizon. These winds may seem ordinary, yet they are part of an intricate natural system that has sustained life here for countless generations. Water, however, remains the true lifeblood of Tojo Una Una. Without it, none of this extraordinary landscape could exist. Across the Regency, rivers descend from forested mountains, carving valleys through rugged terrain before eventually reaching the sea. Among the most important is the Balingara River, flowing along the border between Tojo Una Una and Bangai Regency. For generations, this river has served as a vital source of fresh water, supporting agriculture, local ecosystems, and communities that depend upon its steady flow throughout the year. Equally significant is the Malay River, which forms part of the natural boundary between Tojo Una Una and Poso Regency. Like countless rivers across Indonesia, it is much more than flowing water. It is a source of life. It nourishes farmland, it replenishes forests, it provides habitat for aquatic species, and it strengthens the ecological connection between mountains and sea. Every drop of water that falls upon the highlands begins an extraordinary journey. Rain filters through layers of ancient forest, roots absorb and slowly release moisture into the ground. Natural springs emerge from rocky hillsides. Small streams merge into larger rivers. Eventually, these rivers carry nutrients and fresh water toward the vast waters of Tomini Gulf, supporting one of the richest marine environments in Southeast Asia. This seamless connection between mountain, forest, river, and ocean represents one of nature's greatest masterpieces. Nothing exists in isolation. The forests protect the rivers sustain the people depend upon the sea, and the sea in return provides food, livelihoods, and opportunity. This delicate balance has evolved over thousands of years. It reminds us that prosperity cannot exist without conservation, development cannot succeed without sustainability, and the future cannot be secured unless nature itself remains healthy. Standing on one of Tojo Una Una's forested hills at sunrise, you begin to understand why this landscape feels so extraordinary. Mist drifts slowly through the valleys, sunlight breaks over distant mountain ridges, birdsong echoes through the tropical canopy. Far below, winding rivers shimmer like ribbons of silver before disappearing into the endless blue waters of Tomini Gulf. There are few places left in the modern world where landscapes remain this complete, where mountains still dominate the skyline, where forests remain largely intact, where rivers continue to flow freely, and where nature still determines the rhythm of everyday life. Tojo Una Una is one of those rare places. It is a reminder that Indonesia's greatest treasures are not always found in its busiest cities or its most famous destinations. Sometimes they are hidden in quiet landscapes where the forests still breathe, the rivers still sing, and every new day begins with the timeless promise of a land that has never stopped believing in the power of nature. Yet if the mountains shape the land and the rivers sustain its people, then the sea is the soul of Tojo Una Una. Stretching along the northern and eastern edges of the Regency lies the breathtaking Tomini Gulf, one of the largest gulfs in Indonesia and one of the most biologically important marine regions in the Coral Triangle. Scientists often describe the Coral Triangle as the Amazon of the oceans. It is home to the greatest concentration of marine biodiversity anywhere on Earth. Within these warm, tropical waters, thousands of species have evolved over millions of years, creating an underwater world that rivals the beauty of any rainforest. For the people of Tojo Una Una, the sea is more than a spectacular view. It is history, it is identity, it is survival. Long before modern roads connected villages across the Regency, the sea served as the primary highway. Wooden boats carried families, traders, fishermen, and travelers from one coastal settlement to another. Generations learned to read the tides, understand the winds, and navigate by the stars. Knowledge passed from grandparents to grandchildren became as valuable as any written map. Even today, the relationship between the people and the ocean remains deeply rooted. Every morning before sunrise, fishing boats quietly leave the shoreline. Their engines fade into the distance as they head toward productive fishing grounds that have supported local communities for generations. Hours later, they return carrying the rewards of patience, skill, and respect for the sea. Fresh fish, squid, reef species, and other marine resources not only provide daily food, but also contribute to the regional economy. Yet the true wealth of Tomini Gulf cannot be measured only by what is caught. Its greatest treasure lies beneath the surface. Crystal clear water reveals vibrant coral reefs alive with color and movement. Schools of tropical fish weave effortlessly through coral gardens. Sea turtles glide gracefully across the reef. Giant clams rest quietly on the ocean floor. Every dive becomes a journey into one of the richest underwater ecosystems on the planet. Marine scientists continue to study these waters because they contain an extraordinary variety of coral species and reef fish. Healthy coral reefs act as nurseries for countless marine animals. They protect coastlines from powerful waves. They support fisheries. They preserve biodiversity that benefits not only Indonesia, but the entire world. This is why protecting the waters surrounding Tojo Una Una is so important. Once coral reefs are damaged, recovery can take decades. Some ecosystems may never fully return to their original condition. Conservation is not simply about protecting fish. It is about protecting an entire chain of life that begins with microscopic organisms and extends all the way to human communities. The health of the ocean determines the health of coastal villages. The health of coastal villages influences regional prosperity, and regional prosperity contributes to the future of the nation itself. Nature has always reminded humanity of one simple truth: everything is connected. One of the most extraordinary jewels within Tojo Una Una is the world-renowned Togean Islands. Scattered across the calm waters of Tomini Gulf, This breathtaking archipelago is celebrated for its exceptional natural beauty, remarkable marine biodiversity, and peaceful atmosphere. Unlike many crowded tourist destinations, the Togean Islands still retain a sense of authenticity. Visitors arrive not to chase luxury, but to experience something increasingly rare: silence. Pristine beaches stretch beneath rows of coconut palms. White sand meets clear turquoise water. Dense tropical forests reach almost to the shoreline. Above, sea eagles circle effortlessly against brilliant blue skies. Below, vibrant coral reefs create an underwater paradise unlike almost anywhere else. For divers, snorkelers, photographers, and nature lovers, the islands offer unforgettable experiences. Every coral reef tells a story. Every island has its own character. Every sunrise feels like the beginning of a new adventure. The Togean Islands have also become an important destination for scientific research. Researchers from Indonesia and around the world have studied the area's unique marine ecosystems, documenting species that contribute to global understanding of tropical biodiversity. Such discoveries highlight an important reality. Places like Tojo Una Una are not only beautiful, they are scientifically valuable. They are environmentally significant. They are globally important. As the world continues to lose natural habitats through deforestation, pollution, and climate change, regions like Tojo Una Una become increasingly precious. They represent living laboratories where nature still functions much as it has for thousands of years. This is why sustainable tourism holds such enormous potential. When managed responsibly, tourism can generate income while encouraging conservation. Visitors who witness the beauty of these landscapes often become their strongest advocates. Local communities benefit economically. Natural resources receive greater protection. Future generations inherit landscapes that remain healthy and vibrant. This balance between development and conservation is one of the greatest challenges and greatest opportunities facing Tojo Una Una today. The goal is not simply to attract more visitors. The goal is to ensure that every visitor leaves with a deeper appreciation for the extraordinary natural heritage that exists here. Because once someone has watched the sun disappear behind the mountains of Central Sulawesi, listened to waves gently reaching untouched shores, and looked beneath the crystal waters of Tomini Gulf, they rarely forget what they have experienced. Some places impress you for a moment, others remain with you for a lifetime. Tojo Una Una has the power to become one of those unforgettable places. But the true strength of Tojo Una Una is not measured only by its mountains, rivers, or oceans. Its greatest strength is its people. Across this vast regency, communities have learned to live in harmony with landscapes that can be both generous and demanding. Life here has never been easy. The mountainous terrain challenges transportation. Distances between villages can be significant. Heavy rains occasionally test infrastructure and daily routines. Yet generation after generation, the people of Tojo Una Una have adapted with remarkable resilience. They understand that living close to nature requires patience. It requires wisdom. It requires respect. In many rural communities, mornings begin long before the first rays of sunlight reach the mountain peaks. Farmers prepare their fields while cool mist still blankets the valleys. Fishermen inspect their boats before heading toward the calm waters of Tomini Gulf. Market vendors organize fresh produce harvested only hours earlier. Children prepare for school as families begin another day filled with hope and determination. These simple routines may appear ordinary, yet together they form the heartbeat of the Regency. Agriculture continues to play a vital role in supporting local livelihoods. The fertile soils created by centuries of volcanic activity and tropical rainfall provide opportunities to cultivate a variety of crops suited to the region's climate. Farmers work with the changing seasons, understanding that success depends not only on hard work, but also on reading nature itself. Every rainfall matters. Every harvest reflects months of dedication. Every successful growing season strengthens the resilience of entire communities. Along the coast, fishing remains equally important. For many families, the sea provides both food and income. Knowledge of tides, currents, weather patterns, and marine habitats is passed from one generation to the next, preserving traditions that have endured for centuries. Modern technology has certainly reached many parts of the Regency. Communication has improved, roads continue to develop, education and healthcare services have expanded since the establishment of the Regency as an autonomous region. Yet even as progress moves forward, many communities continue to value the lessons inherited from their ancestors. They understand that development should never come at the cost of destroying the natural systems that sustain life. This philosophy is becoming increasingly important in the 21st century. Around the world, forests disappear at alarming rates. Wildlife habitats continue to shrink. Climate change brings more unpredictable weather. Freshwater resources face increasing pressure. Against this global backdrop, regions like Tojo Una Una carry an even greater responsibility. Protecting these forests is not simply a local issue. It contributes to regional climate stability. It protects biodiversity. It safeguards freshwater supplies. And it helps preserve one of Indonesia's most valuable environmental assets. The forests covering the mountains of Tojo Una Una are home to countless forms of life, many of which remain little studied. Towering tropical trees create multiple layers of habitat. Birds fill the canopy with songs each morning. Insects pollinate flowering plants. Small mammals move quietly beneath dense vegetation. Every organism, no matter how small, plays a role in maintaining ecological balance. Nature has perfected this system over millions of years. It asks for very little in return, only respect, only protection, only the wisdom to recognize that once ancient ecosystems disappear, rebuilding them is far more difficult than preserving them. Tojo Una Una also represents something larger than itself. It reflects the extraordinary diversity that defines Indonesia. An archipelago stretching across thousands of islands cannot be understood by looking only at its largest cities. Its true identity lives in places like this, in regencies where mountains still dominate the skyline, where rivers continue to shape the land, where coastal villages greet each sunrise with the sound of waves rather than traffic, where local traditions remain deeply connected to the environment. Every corner of Indonesia contributes another chapter to the nation's remarkable story. Tojo Una Una reminds us that greatness is often found far from the spotlight. Not every extraordinary place becomes internationally famous. Not every paradise appears on the front page of travel magazines. Some remain quietly magnificent, waiting for those willing to look beyond the obvious. Perhaps that is exactly what makes this regency so special. Its beauty has not been manufactured. Its landscapes have not been shaped for social media. Its mountains do not compete for attention. They simply stand, just as they have for thousands of years. Its rivers continue flowing toward the sea. Its forests continue breathing. Its people continue building their future while honoring the land that has given them life. In an age when much of the world races toward endless expansion, Tojo Una Una offers a different lesson. Progress does not have to erase nature. Development does not have to destroy heritage. Prosperity and conservation can move forward together when guided by wisdom, responsibility, and long-term vision. Perhaps the greatest question is not whether Tojo Una Una will change. Every place changes with time. The real question is whether humanity can learn to grow without forgetting the value of places like this. Because once a forest is lost, it may take centuries to return. Once a river is polluted, entire ecosystems suffer. Once coral reefs disappear, generations may never witness the vibrant underwater worlds that once flourished beneath the waves. The future of Tojo Una Una is more than a regional story. It is part of a global conversation about how humanity chooses to coexist with nature. And if there is one lesson this remarkable corner of Central Sulawesi teaches us, it is this: the greatest treasures are not always those we build. Sometimes they are the ones we have the courage to protect. As the world moves deeper into an era of rapid urbanization, technological advancement, and unprecedented economic growth, places like Tojo Una Una become increasingly rare. They remind us of something humanity is in danger of forgetting. Not every measure of success can be counted in skyscrapers. Not every achievement can be measured by industrial output. Not every form of wealth is stored inside banks. Some of the greatest riches are measured in clean rivers, healthy forests, living coral reefs, fresh air, safe drinking water, and communities that continue to live in harmony with the natural world. These are treasures that no amount of money can truly replace once they are gone. Imagine standing on a mountain ridge as dawn slowly breaks across Central Sulawesi. The first golden rays of sunlight touch the forest canopy. Morning mist drifts gently through the valleys below. In the distance, the calm waters of Tomini Gulf begin to sparkle beneath the rising sun. Birds awaken the forest with songs that have echoed through these mountains for thousands of years. The only sounds are the wind moving through towering trees and the quiet flow of rivers making their endless journey toward the sea. In that moment, it becomes clear that this landscape is not merely beautiful, it is alive. Every tree is producing oxygen. Every river is carrying life. Every coral reef beneath the sea is protecting thousands of marine species. Every mountain is quietly guarding the watersheds that sustain entire communities. Nature is constantly working, silently, patiently, without asking for recognition. This remarkable balance has endured through countless generations. Long before modern maps identified Tojo Una Una, long before roads connected distant villages, long before satellites captured images of Central Sulawesi from space, these mountains already stood proudly above the forests. These rivers already flowed toward the ocean. These tropical ecosystems were already shaping life across the region. Human civilization arrived as a guest. Nature was here first. That perspective changes everything. It reminds us that our responsibility is not to conquer the landscape. It is to become worthy caretakers of it. The future of Tojo Una Una will depend on choices made today. Choices about conservation, choices about education, choices about sustainable development, choices about protecting forests while creating economic opportunities, choices about preserving marine ecosystems while supporting coastal livelihoods. These decisions may seem local. In reality, they have global significance. Healthy tropical forests help regulate the Earth's climate. Protected watersheds secure fresh water for future generations. Thriving coral reefs strengthen marine biodiversity across Southeast Asia. Every successful conservation effort contributes to a healthier planet. This is why Tojo Una Una matters far beyond the borders of Central Sulawesi. Its forests store carbon. Its rivers nourish life. Its seas contribute to one of the richest marine ecosystems on Earth. Its people demonstrate that development and environmental stewardship can move forward together when guided by wisdom and long-term thinking. For younger generations, this regency offers something even more valuable: perspective. It teaches that progress should never mean forgetting where we came from. It teaches that true innovation works with nature rather than against it. It teaches that protecting the environment is not an obstacle to prosperity. It is the very foundation upon which lasting prosperity is built. Perhaps one day, more travelers will discover the quiet beauty of Ampana. More researchers will study its forests and marine ecosystems. More photographers will capture its breathtaking landscapes. More entrepreneurs will invest responsibly in sustainable tourism. More young people will recognize that preserving nature can create opportunities just as meaningful as exploiting it. And perhaps the world will finally understand what the people of Tojo Una Una have known all along: that paradise is not defined by luxury, it is defined by balance. Balance between people and nature. Balance between progress and preservation. Balance between ambition and responsibility. That balance is the true legacy of this extraordinary land. So when you hear the name Tojo Una Una, do not think only of another regency on the map of Indonesia. Think of mountains that have stood for millions of years. Think of rivers that never stop flowing. Think of forests that continue to breathe for the planet. Think of the endless blue waters of Tomini Gulf, where life beneath the surface is every bit as extraordinary as the world above it. Think of the families who wake each morning with gratitude for the land and sea that sustain them. Think of a place where nature still writes the story and humanity is only one chapter within it. Because in the end, the greatest destinations are not always the ones with the tallest buildings or the brightest lights. They are the places that remind us who we are. They are the places that reconnect us with the earth. They are the places that inspire us to protect something greater than ourselves. Tojo Una Una is one of those places, a land of mountains and oceans, a land of resilience and hope, a land where every sunrise carries the promise of a brighter future, and a timeless reminder that Indonesia's greatest treasures are often found far beyond the places the world already knows. Perhaps the next great journey is not about traveling farther. Perhaps it is about discovering what has been quietly waiting for us all along. And in the heart of Central Sulawesi, surrounded by forests, mountains, rivers, and the shimmering waters of Tomini Gulf, that extraordinary journey begins.